horror fans, and welcome to another episode of Silver Screams. Tonight, very, very briefly, we're talking about Scream, Season 2, Episode 7, and at more length, Episode 8. Full disclosure on my part,
we had technical difficulties.
The last episode got broken up into two different segments, one of which got permanently deleted. And instead of uploading half of an episode, I just figured it was better just to talk about it very briefly in this one. Huge apologies. So sorry, guys.
Eli's a creep. Ghostface was foiled. And people got set on fire.
A man died in a fire. Branson was a terrible guy, but
he did not deserve it.
I feel like very few people deserve to die
at the end as to whether or not he actually survived.
I was gonna say, like, how funny would it be if he actually lived through it, and then
I was going, he totally died in that fire. They're gonna show us a body.
He's dead, Jim.
Lo and behold,
they showed us a body. It's a good. I think we bet money on it too.
We did. We bet $5.
But there's no record of that bet anywhere.
You owe me $5.
So, shit. All right, fine. I'll buy you a pumpkin spice latte chai tea or something. I don't know.
I was all about to say it's October. It is not October.
It's September, but it might as well be October because September means it's fall, and fall means it's Halloween, which is it. So it might as well be October. Anyway, sorry.
And we've only just started drinking.
I've had like 2 sips.
That's the just started part.
It's been a day, guys. Anywho, so yeah, long story short is we found out some really shady stuff about Eli. Eli was constantly trying to make Kieran look bad. The teacher got attacked, and she's hospitalized at the moment.
She might actually be unconscious. She might be in a medically induced coma, which is why we haven't seen. And she was attacked and thrown off a staircase, but the janitor showed up.
Yeah.
And scared Ghostface off.
And that, I think, is the first time we've actually seen this Ghostface.
A janitor.
Well, we've seen this Ghostface plans thwarted.
Yeah.
Because this Ghostface has been very methodical. Because he knows who he's dealing with. He knows that this group of kids has already survived a series of attacks. So whoever is behind this has been very methodical about everything that they've done.
Oh yeah, their choreography for Dance Puppets Dance is very good. Mm-hmm. And this janitor shows up like, hi guys, what's going on in this? Oh my god!
Oh my god!
Woman.
Oh dear!
And evidently Ghostface was probably trying to blame Audrey for that stuff.
Yeah.
And then the janitor was there and the teacher survived and it's like, hey.
So who knows what Ghostface had planned, but whatever it was, it went right out the window because he picked up Mr. Branson, dumped him in a house owned by Brooke's father.
The whole development was owned by Brooke's father, I think.
Where he stashed the other body
hotel
while Eli and Emma were in it and set it on fire.
I don't think Ghostface knew.
We can't go to the cops.
I don't think Ghostface knew they were there. Because Emma is endgame territory, and why would you kill her in a fire early?
But the flip side of that is that this is a place that Eli knows and has been to before on numerous occasions. He didn't want to go to the cops because he's had issues with the cops, and we find out in this episode a girl has a restraining order, which makes sense because he just breaks into people's houses, stands in their doorway with butter knives, and then just eats their toast and walks away.
Or, shows up in their rooms. That's what the restraining order is for, because he showed up in this girl's room.
And
so it's like,
that brings us to this episode, where suspicion immediately falls on him because somebody has broken into Audrey's room and
Emma's room to send the emails from her computer, and they listed another one. I don't remember.
Yeah, but I mean, there's a lot of breaking and entering happening, and
whoever did this painted a message on Audrey's ceiling over her bed. Do you know how hard it is to do that with any precision without standing right under where you're painting?
Without being on the bed?
Like, did they break in and bring a laddering with them? How the fuck?
Did they, move the bed? Or, is Audrey just a really heavy sleeper? Did they move the bed and then
they brought in a little thing of paint and a paintbrush and they duct taped it to a yardstick and we're just like
Actually, that's probably it. That's the quietest method. And Ghost Race had such great mystique in this episode. All of that goes out the window when you picture them with a yardstick.
When you think about the practicality of how that got painted on the ceiling. I feel like it's the Paul F. Tompkins horror movie routine.
The phrase "excuse me" would have to be used.
Like, you think about the mechanics of that, and all of a sudden it's like,
and all of a sudden, like I said,
all right, Michelangelo, let's go.
Just goes right out the window. But that being said,
Sistine Chapel, Michelangelo, right?
Yeah,
okay.
That being
like it's not Da Vinci. I'm losing my mind.
That being said, there's still, and we spent most of the last episode theorizing anyway. But I'm going to go ahead and continue sort of my line of thinking with that. I really do think it is Eli. I think it's Eli, and I think it's Zoe, actually, at this point. And that
would suck, and I would be sad.
That, my opinion, will most likely change as episodes go on.
Every episode.
But right now, I've got it pegged as the two of them. Because Eli has motive, at least in terms of trying to win Emma over. He's got means of being able to break and enter. He's really good at it. And I think it makes more sense for it to be him than it does Gustavo. And I still think all the stuff with Gustavo is a red herring. And I think the teacher was a red herring.
Wouldn't it be crazy if they were both red herrings? Gustavo and Eli?
They could be.
Because Eli is definitely the...
And that's the thing, is they're projecting Eli so hard that, like, it may very well turn out not to be him. I mean, they've done that before in the past. It's nothing new to the movies or, the series.
Well, they're also doing it pretty hard with Gustavo with the stuff about what happened in, was it Phoenix?
Wherever it was the last time.
And bringing, the little thing on the tape with grave robbing and this and that and the other. And it's like, well, it's a matter of perspective and he's an artist and blah, blah, blah.
And his dad constantly hiding evidence as though, there's
something to hide.
And there is something. Like, they came to this town to make a clean start, which, BT dubs, if you go to Lakewood to make a clean start,
you get a problem. And it's just him talking about, we wanted to make a clean start. It's not my fault that my friend died. I wanted to remember, it's what you did afterwards. Well, I wanted to remember the moment. Like, did he die and then you just sat there and drew him? Or did you, peel his skin off and wear it? Like, what did you do?
What did you do?
And I realized I just went from point A to point F, but
we don't know. We don't know what this kid is capable of. And then, of course, his dad, and this is the thing of, where I tend to, even though I still think the sheriff's methods are terrible and terribly wrong, the flip side is that if the mayor is the big bad, and as sheriff he has to report to the mayor, or if the mayor has something on him personally, then I understand the need to hide evidence if you're trying to get to the actual truth, so that you can protect your children. Okay, I'll let it slide a little bit. But when you're
the sheriff, buddy.
Well, you're the sheriff, and you have a duty to actually, conduct a thorough investigation, and when you're constantly hiding evidence, and then tell your son, I know about this evidence that I've been hiding for you, and then your son basically says, prove it.
Which is not a good thing to say to your dad, the police officer.
Your dad,
generally
1, 2, a cop, you put them together and you have
3,
your situation.
The sheriff.
Yeah. Gustavo's a mess. Just a mess.
Yeah,
but I tend to believe that Gustavo's more of the messed up kid, and that Eli is a straight up
sociopath.
Yeah, it's like if we wanted to call either of them the bad guy, I would call Eli the bad guy. Gustavo just, in my opinion, Gustavo just has issues. That being said, I hate them both. They're awful. Both of them are terrible, and it would be really funny if they both turned out to be red herrings. Because again, it's projecting so loudly that it's one of these two or both of them, that they're both such bad news and bad
This guy
trouble.
had stuff happen in Phoenix, and this guy had stuff happen in wherever he lived beforehand. I don't remember. Eli.
I don't either. I don't care.
Somewhere else.
It's not important. Wherever it is, he's got a restraining order.
You evidently witnessed a death, and you have a restraining order. And I'm like, there's a big difference between witnessing a death and...
Well, no, it sounds for Gustavo like it was more manslaughter. They might have, from the sound of it, it sounded like they might have been playing with a gun or...
Could have been.
I don't know, a car accident. Car accidents seem to happen a lot to this cast.
And talking about Kieran and him feeling guilty because it wasn't just that his parents died in a car crash.
And then he got into a fight with them beforehand.
He was in the car arguing with his dad. And his stepdad, rather. And his stepdad got mad at him and took his eyes off the road and turned around. And I'm like, no, if you're driving, you don't do that. You pull over. And I've learned that in LA traffic, which is a really good place to get mad.
Don't make me pull this car over.
Exactly. You pull over and then you deal with it. So it's when you turn around to do that. And of course he blames himself because that's when the accident happened. And it's like, on one hand, I get it. On the other hand, no.
Well, and again, it's, for one, he's still young and, you know, still, this is a very, first of all, it's a traumatic thing to happen to anyone. And if it were to happen to anyone, regardless of their age, they would most likely blame themselves. So for it to happen to a teenager it's even more devastating, and it's even more understandable why he wouldn't. It's not so much that he didn't want to tell Emma, so much as that's just, as he put it, it's the worst thing that ever happened in his life, and it's something he thinks about every single day and wishes had never happened. So it's like, no, okay,
a little rough.
Fair enough. And to have your cousin just spouting
over you,
spouting shit just all the time about him. Again, trying to steal everything nice that you have, which
sounds like there's a history of that with these two.
And it also sounds like Eli is 100% objectifying Emma as a result of that. You're a nice thing and I want you because of that. Because I don't like my cousin to have nice things. What is wrong with you, you psychopath?
I'm why you can't have nice things. Well, if I can't have nice things, why can he? Why should he be so fortunate?
This is why we can't have nice things.
All of his parents are dead. He had 3 parents. They're all dead.
They're all gone.
How is this having nice things? Like, that's not... No,
but
it's not a good situation.
And we haven't really touched on, and it sounds like Eli's mom too is going to be working in league with the mayor. And we get a wonderful, I mean, and this is one of the reasons why I'm going to start talking about why I suspect Zoe, but we get a beautiful drunken mic drop from Brooke.
After getting drunk off of the full flask that Zoe, like, if you need a little bit to take the edge off, like if you're going to do a shot beforehand, you don't fill the flask and then bring it. You bring as much as you need. Unless you just carry a full flask the whole time.
Or you plan on sharing with lots of people. But
you put a lot in a flask.
You can. And that was a big flask too.
That's the size of the one I have.
No, it's bigger. The one you have is smaller.
No, it's about...
No, this one was that big.
No, it wasn't.
Yeah, it was.
It was not that big.
It was that big. But anyways, that's irrelevant. The point is that Zoe brought a flask, intentionally gave it to Brooke, who, by the way, I think Zoe has like a Disney princess thing going on, because the first dress she bought for herself was a terrible yellow one that looked like it was trying to be Belle from Beauty and the Beast and failing miserably. But after the makeover, with the pink dress, she does a little Disney princess twirl, and it's this really cute, sweet moment where until about 5 seconds after it, I'm like, oh, I don't trust her. And again, really good show because it gives...
You mistrust everyone. Literally everyone.
You mistrust everyone, and yet, especially with a character like Zoe, it walks that line of making her actions plausible from an innocent standpoint and still
terrifying.
100% plausible from the murderer's standpoint. Because here, she gets Brooke drunk, whether that was an accident because her friend just simply had too much, or if it was an intentional, I'm gonna let this drunk person stick it to Lakewood because, you know, she's not afraid to tell it how it is when she's drunk.
Which was beautiful. I feel so bad for Brooke, but they really needed that speech, that ugly, ugly wake-up call.
Yeah.
You're trying a little too hard to be Stepford.
And like, way to prove her point, too, is as soon as she's done speaking, having, give it up for Brooke, everybody!
Impassioned speech from Brooke. Like, I know you're trying to salvage things, but you need to stop.
And like, her poor friends, too, just, is she drunk? I think so. Ugh.
Either that or she just had, what was it? She just had a stroke?
She just had a blow to the head.
She had a
serious blow to the head. And then Zoe at the end of it too, her actions in terms of seemingly having sent the recording to Emma, because it's also plausible that she didn't do it, that somebody hacked into her files, but sending it to Emma after being kind of metaphorically cock-blocked by Audrey. You know, it's set up from two very equally plausible standpoints of...
Well, and the thing is, at that point, you know, Noah was ignoring his phone. You gonna answer that? No. You gonna answer that? No, seriously, I'm not even paying any attention to it. You sure you're not gonna? No, not gonna.
You're the one paying attention to it!
It's like, is it Audrey? Yeah, but she had a time tonight. You know, I'm not paying. We'll talk tomorrow. It'll be fine. And it was bothering her a lot more than it was bothering him.
Yeah.
So that's a thing. But even if that's the case, sending Emma that recording is still just the worst thing. Even if it's from an I'm not the killer standpoint, it's still a terrible thing to do because you have violated Noah's trust, for one, screwing around on his computer, and you screwed over Audrey.
Mm-hmm. Who, you know, you made out with too. You were high at the time. But still, I mean, she hasn't done anything overtly to you, and she was also very much encouraging this relationship from the get-go. So...
She ships it right into backhander. It's just kind of a total dick move.
Then again, however, I mean, the flip side also is that Audrey did do a, you know, seemingly terrible thing, even though she didn't commit those murders, as so we think. But she is guilty of bringing a murderer to Lakewood.
Not that she ever could have known it at the time.
Not that she could have known it, but she is guilty of that and keeping it a secret, and people are dying as a result. So even if you wanted to take, you know, her personal feelings out of it, letting somebody else know might be a moral, I don't know, I guess a moral judgment call. But still, that wasn't a moral judgment call, because if it was, it would have gone to the cops.
Yeah.
Not
Emma.
Not to Emma specifically.
Although it may not have just gone to Emma specifically. It may have been a blast.
That's very true. It might have gone out to everybody, which it probably did, let's be honest, and it wouldn't be the first time that something about Audrey got sent out to everyone.
Although I will say, I don't think that Zoe was the active ghost face at the carnival, because there's no way you can fit that ball gown and heels into that black getup, because she was still in that during the makeout session later that night.
Like I said.
So she may be a ghost face, but I don't think she was the active one that night.
Was nowhere to be seen.
Yeah, no, I know. I'm just saying, I don't think she was
Gustavo. Just gonna, I'll point that out.
Then he just snuck into Brooke's room, and I guess she asked him. Thanks for coming.
Oh yeah, that was another thing, is he's really good at sneaking into places too. So again, red herring.
Into Brooke's house, which evidently has some form of security.
Yeah.
I'd be surprised if it didn't.
And, well, no, it wasn't Brooke's house at this point.
Yeah, well, she was at home.
Yeah, he did. Okay.
She was at home in bed.
Well, yeah, yes. She did. He did do that. That was until the very end. He did break. He also snuck into
past security into the green room for the pageant.
Exactly. Yeah. So he's very sneaky. There was something else. So there's that. Oh, you brought up the carnival. Can we talk about that incredible funhouse scene?
Okay, that was a huge funhouse for another. You keep seeing track going through it, but there are also very much some areas that are walkable only, like
now,
the
is this the same place where Audrey kidnapped Noah?
Yeah, I don't know, because I think that was specifically the haunted house, and this was a fun. I don't know.
I don't know,
but
clowns,
it makes no
there was
sense.
a Five Nights at Freddy's kind of weird
with the
animal
weird ass
head
animal head things
going on.
It made no sense to have a ride that's partially stuff you walk through and partially tracks. Like,
Yeah,
how?
why would you hop onto tracks and then hop off the tracks to get to a hall of mirrors?
This isn't a Donkey Kong Country level.
It's not. But, like, yeah, no. Anyway,
Yeah, tracks for part of them, and then you go off the platform a bit.
and like this attraction would also have to be blocked off if you wanted to ensure that no one else was in it at the time.
Or, walked on the tracks while it was going.
Yeah.
So it may not have had a ride operator. It might have closed earlier. They did make the announcement about the carnival closing at half an hour. Maybe it closed early.
But somehow between the time of Eli getting punched by Kieran and the time where they're all hanging out right after Brooke's speech, sometime between then and then, somebody dressed as Ghostface kidnapped Kieran and recorded video of him being tied up and sent it to Emma, and then had also time to go outside,
and
record
did that nice
her,
little phone call.
send it to Audrey. Yeah. Oh.
Well, did that whole, oh, it's Kieran. Meet me at the Ferris wheel. Hi, it's not actually Kieran.
It's not actually Kieran.
This isn't Trevor. Oh, look at your phone, and he's at the funhouse. Yeah, okay, well,
Look at
let's
your phone
run
now.
the
Back
funhouse.
to me.
Now back at your phone. Now back to me.
I'm gone. Where did I go? I'm in that reflection. But
If this was the ghost face, your ghost fake could kill,
which again, we might have one or two fakers running around.
That would be amazing. Two ghost faces working at odds.
Working at odds with one another. That would actually be a first, because we've definitely had Ghostface using one another. That's like almost every single Ghostface. But like, we've never had two at the same time who are actively working against one another. And
independently.
That would be interesting.
That'd be crazy.
Or, like, not even just working independently. How great would it be if they were trying to thwart one another? Like, after a while, they realize that there's somebody else doing stuff and it's not them. And so they're actively trying to stay one step ahead of each other while staying one step ahead of the investigation and their would-be victims.
See, what I would love would be, there's one ghost face that's focused on Emma, and there's one ghost face that just wants to fuck with Audrey.
I think that's kind of what we have. And this is why I think that, and this is why I think that one of them is Eli, because he is very fixated on Emma. And the other one, whether it's Myers, whether it's Zoe, whether it's somebody else entirely,
was probably the accomplice from season 1.
And or is somebody who's picking up the mantle from Piper because they have an attachment to Piper, and or just general resentment towards Audrey.
But someone had to be the season 1 accomplice.
Yes, but there are certain Audrey.
There were absolutely two ghost faces in season 1.
It's also possible that Audrey is far more involved than she's let on.
That's true.
She's lied before.
I would be
She's
sad.
kidnapped, and she's considered attempted murder to keep her secret.
I would be very sad if she wound up being one of the accomplice or a ghost face, because fuck, I like her.
I like her too. And again,
No spoilers.
No spoilers, please. But how brilliant is it to have this character that you were invested in but torn apart because you're like, I don't know whether or not you're guilty.
Isn't that everyone in this series?
Yeah, pretty much, with the exception of like the main character and maybe Noah. Good old Noah. I hope anyway.
Follows a very specific formula.
Randy!
Oh.
No! But, so, this funhouse scene, just from a wonderful, first of all, it's well-paced. The aesthetic came right out of an episode of Are You Afraid of the Dark? The funhouse, the use of framing, seeing Ghostface in the background, doing his little head tilt while walking
by, just
well done. And even
making my way downtown, see Emma walking faster.
Even talking about like framing, having him in another frame really well done. And with the mirrors when it's Kieran.
Oh my God. And just the bit with the shot and shooting out the mirror instead of, oh man.
And timing wise, this Ghostface knows his stuff because he had time to knock out the cop and skedaddle before Kieran, he pulled a V for Vendetta, dressing Kieran up like him.
Exactly what I was thinking of. Duct taping the mouth, putting the mask on him.
Yeah.
And the thing is, Gustavo's mask is missing.
And Gustavo was there to make eye contact with his dad when his dad realized this person is clearly not Ghostface. You're absolutely right. My favorite shot probably of the entire episode was when she picks up the gun, aims it, and fires it at him, and the glass shatters. And it's just like, that was so good. And that's good. After seeing his reflection in the shattered mirror pieces. Like this
they had a lot of fun with the mirrors, and it wasn't kitschy, because sometimes it's like, and there's a reflection in the mirror.
Sometimes it can come off as really ingenuine.
Film school.
Yeah. As like, I'm a student with all these ideas, but not exactly.
I've done a mirror reflection before, but this was like, holy shit, look at that.
This was really well done. Particularly the gunshot.
Why is the show this good? The show was on MTV.
Yeah, we were saying that while we were watching this. This show has no right to be as good as it is, and I'm enjoying every minute of it. And much. In a way, I kind of wish we weren't recording these episodes because I just want to finish it. But
the downside of falling behind.
The downside of falling behind with so much coming up, BTW.
Stranger Things, Day 5, Scream
so
Queens.
Much we have to do.
Ash.
Oh, Lord. But that being said, it's a wonderful time to be a horror fan. If not a slightly exhausting time to figure out an airing schedule when you work full-time jobs and are also on tons of other shows at another network.
All of our fall shows are coming back.
Why are they all coming back
at the same time?
Why? Gosh dang it. Anywho, so that's completely neither here nor there. So again,
it's everywhere.
So again, all in all, really great episode.
So good. Holy cow,
suspenseful.
They just keep getting better.
They do. And, a year ago we were going, how are they going to do a season 2? Well, we're gonna just take our words, we're going to eat them. Because, well done show, and we're not even over yet.
Stick the landing.
You better.
Stick
better.
the landing.
So, again, my thought is that Ghostface, Eli, and either Zoe or Myers, because we haven't seen Myers in a long time, but right after Audrey's wave file gets out, that is the perfect time for her to resurface as a character.
That's true. The crazy prank person. Her. Good Lord. You stabbed him. Well, you wonder why.
But do you have any thoughts?
I'm pretty much down with that.
Either one of those scenarios of either Zoe, who's being like all Don's puppets dance, and has some weird vendetta and or connection to Piper that is previously unbeknownst to us, and or Myers coming back into the forefront.
Too straightforward for it to be Gustavo at this point, but I also wouldn't be surprised if they went there and somehow managed to subvert things to still make it interesting. I don't know. We'll have to see.
And again, we still have a lot of Brandon James stuff kind of lingering in the background because
we touched on that in the month of Sundays.
Yeah, Emma's mom is back on the case, and the sheriff feels like
she's the only Emmy in town.
Which, how can you take her off the case if dead bodies still keep piling up?
Well, this one seems to have been dead for a while. Oops. You can tell because it's dead. It's not breathing. It's been dead long enough to be dead.
He's dead, Jim. So, okay. Really good stuff. And yeah, there's, like I said, a lot of Brandon James stuff coming back. I would be so, I would be at a loss for words if that stuff didn't come back around before the end of the season. So there's still a lot in the air, but those are my thoughts for right now.
Because we haven't really focused on that since the first few episodes. It's kind of been in the background.
She's just kind of popped up here and there, or Myers has popped up here and there, and that stuff has just kind of popped up here and there. And whenever it does pop up, I'm like, Brandon James is alive. I I don't care what anyone says. That dude is alive.
We'll have to see. What are we, like 2/3 of the way through the series? We got like 4 or 5 more episodes?
Well, whatever it is.
How many? Is it 12 episodes?
Yeah,
and
it's about 12
8?
episodes.
We got 4 more.
Yep. But like,
Math.
whatever it has to do, whoever is Ghostface right now is not happy about Emma's family's connection with Brandon James' family.
Or at least one of the ghost faces. Again, we don't know.
We don't know. We don't know. Maybe there are 3 of them. Who knows?
Holy
Maybe
shit,
there are
that
4.
would be amazing.
If
I
all
don't
of a
think
sudden
we've
there
ever
were
had
3.
3 ghost faces.
We've
all
never
of them working at odds with each other.
Xanatos speed chess. How great would it be?
There were 3 ghost faces, and now we're down 2 because one of our victims was the Brandon James focused ghost face. I am overthinking this.
Watch, it's just gonna be one. Just like, wait, how did you accomplish all that? I'm very fast.
Teleportation. Yeah, all right. Scream 3.
So yeah, I think that just about wraps it up. Katie, where can people go if they want to find you?
You can find me on Twitter and YouTube at Kiaxet. That is Kiaxet. The YouTube channel is where we have all of our non-horror reactions and fun stuff.
Woo, woo.
That's where that lives.
When you need some cheering up and or like just
or if you want to watch
sad
us straight up cry on camera, because I think we've done that twice.
Shut up, no one needs to know that. Make those videos private. No, so I'm Megan. You guys can follow me on Twitter and Instagram at TheMenguin. That's TheMenguin. Be sure to follow Silver Screams on Twitter and Instagram at Silver_Screams. Like us on Facebook. All that fun stuff. We want to... I don't know what to ask because I feel like it's a call for spoilers.
We can't ask... Yeah, don't...
What is your favorite funhouse horror scene?
Or what is the creepiest real-life funhouse you've been to?
Ooh.
Descriptions.
Story time, everyone. Please tell us your stories. All right. Well, thank you guys so much for tuning in. We will see you all next time. Can't sleep. Clown, I'll leave you.